5.3 part 1. We're going to be solving polynomials by factoring and also factoring perfect cubes. So, and factoring perfect cubes. So first we're going to be solving for x by factoring. Cross out this first equation. I made a new one. That equation doesn't work out. So it's x cubed minus x squared is equal to 30x. Now we've factored before. We've done everything that we need to do for this problem before. What do I have to do first? Amazing. Subtract the 30x from both sides. Because in order to factor, I need it to be equal to 0. So it's x cubed minus x squared minus 30x is equal to 0. What can I do next? Awesome. I have a greatest common factor. So I'm going to divide everything by x. So I take out the x. What am I left with on the inside? Minus 30 is equal to 0. So in this step, I took out the greatest common factor. And remember, whatever you take out, you have to write it on the outside. What's next? Once I have an x squared, what can I do from here? What does the question say? Solved by what? Factoring. So next, I'm going to factor. What are two factors of negative 30 that add to negative 1?
6 and 5. Negative 6 and 5.
Awesome. Negative 6 and 5. So remember, two factors that multiply to the last number but add to the first. So that's negative 6 and 5. So how would I write the next step? What do I write next? So I need to rewrite the x, bring that down. Does this look a little bit more familiar?
X minus 6.
Awesome. X minus 6 and x plus 5. So this looks exactly like what we did on the quiz yesterday when we found the zeros. Find the zeros and solving is the same thing. How do I solve from here? Before I do that, what do I need to do? No. What did I do when I had this on the quiz yesterday? So x minus 6 is equal to 0. What else? What else? X equals 0. Don't forget about that x that you already took out. So x is equal to 0, solved already. How do I solve the next one? Add 6. So what does x equal? X equals 6. And then the other one? Subtract 5. So what does x equal? Negative 5. So those are my 3 answers. So I took out the greatest common factor, then I factored, and then I solved. What if my question just started like this, with the x squared minus x minus 30? I didn't have a greatest common factor to take out. What would be the first thing I did there? If I don't have a greatest common factor to take out, what's the first thing I do now? Factor. So if you already start with x squared, just factor. So it's like number 1 on the homework where it doesn't have x squared. We just factor. So factor like normal. All right, again, we're doing the same thing. What should I do first? Take out an x. Is there any other greatest common factor that I could take out? 2. So I'm taking out a 2x. So where does that 2x go? On the outside. Don't forget to put it on the outside. What am I left with on the inside? Awesome. X squared plus x minus 2 equals 0. What can I do next? Next, I factor. What are two factors of negative 2 that add to 1? Two and negative 1. Because 2 times negative 1 is negative 2. And 2 minus 1 is 1. So they multiply to the last and add to the middle. Perfect. So how would I write that? It's x plus 2 and x minus 1 because it's a positive 2 and negative 1. What's next? Set each one equal to 0. So I have 2x equals 0, x plus 2 equals 0, and x minus 1 equals 0. So in the first one, how do I solve for x? Divide by 2. So I divide because that's the opposite of multiplication. So x is equal to, what's 0 divided by 2? 0. What's next? Subtract 2. So what does x equal? Negative 2. And then in the last one? Add 1. So what does x equal? 1. So those are our 3 answers. So my first thing I did was take out the GCF. If you have a GCF, make sure you take that out first. Then once I had x squared, I factored. And then solve. All right, so next we're doing something pretty different. Before we were solving, here we're just factoring. So we're not solving for these, we're only factoring. So the question's gonna give us either two perfect cubes that are added together or two perfect cubes that are being subtracted. And then we have to plug it into this formula. So if we're adding, we use the formula in blue. If we're subtracting, we use the formula in red. So it's two different formulas. They're super similar, but the only difference is their signs. So in the sum of cubes, when we add two perfect cubes, the formula goes plus, minus, plus. In the difference of cubes, the formula goes minus, plus, plus. So everything else stays the same. The signs just change. So some common cubes, some examples, would be if we had 1, 1 is 3 cubed. If we had 8, 8 is 2 cubed. 27 is 3 cubed. Another one that you'll see in the homework is 216. What cubed gives us 216? 6 cubed. I think this is probably the biggest one you'll see. But we'll see these numbers in the question, and we have to know where they came from. So if we had 8, 8 comes from 2 cubed. If we had 64, 64 comes from 4 cubed. So we just have to know where they came from. What cubed gives us that number? So let's look at our first example. This is sum of cubes. So I'm using the sum of cubes formula. So it's a plus b times a squared minus ab plus b squared. Now I need to figure out what a and b are. Yes.
Can you please send Alexa Bayi down with her things? She's leaving.
Yes. So I have to figure out what a and b are. So if a cubed is the first number, x cubed, what is just a? X. Perfect. So a cubed is equal to x cubed. We just cross out the cubed parts. So a is equal to x. Next, we have b cubed is the second part. So b cubed is 64. What number cubed gives us 64? 4 to the third power. So what would just b be? If I cross out the cubes, what's just b?
4.
4. So in my formula, everywhere that I see a, I'm going to plug in an x. So I plug in an x there, an x there, and an x there. Everywhere I see b, I plug in 4. So I plug in 4 for b, 4 for b, 4 for b. So let's rewrite it. How does my formula start? X plus 4. So I have x squared minus x times 4. How would I write x times 4? 4x, because remember, the coefficient, the number comes first. And then plus 4 squared. What is 4 squared? 16. 4 times 4 is 16. So this is my answer. So do not solve. All we do is find A and find B and plug it in. All right, so next we have the sum of cubes. So it's the sum of cubes formula. That is A plus B times A squared minus AB plus B squared. So the first numbers are A cubed. So if A cubed is equal to X cubed, what's just A? X. Perfect. And then B cubed is equal to 8. So what's just B? 2. Because 8 is 2 cubed. So if I cross out the cubes, B is 2. So everywhere that I see X, everywhere I see A, I'm going to plug in an X. Everywhere I see B, I'm going to plug in a 2. So my new formula, how would I start?
How did you get 2? Like, how did you get B?
I'll do it again. I'll show you. So X plus 2, then what comes next? What's 2 squared? 4. 2 times 2 is 4. So 2 squared is 4. And then X times 2 becomes 2X. So the question was, where did I get the 2 from? So I know that B cubed is equal to 8. So from that list of perfect cubes, common cubes that I have, what number cubed gives me 8? What is 8 equal to? 2 cubed. So if I cross out the cubed parts, then what does B equal? 2. So this is our answer. All right, so next we have difference of cubes. So our difference of cubes formula is a little bit different. It's A minus B times A squared plus AB plus B squared. So it's the same. The only thing that's different is the signs. So instead of A plus B, it's A minus B and then plus plus. Bless you. So I have 8x cubed equals 1. This looks a little bit different than the ones I had before. What do I have to do first? Subtract 1. So 8x cubed minus 1 is equal to 0. So that's where the difference comes from. I'm subtracting here. All right, so A cubed is equal to the first part, so 8x cubed. So what is just A equal?
2x.
Awesome. 2x. Because we know 2 cubed is 8, and x cubed is x cubed. Then I have B cubed is equal to 1. So what is just B? 1. So everywhere I have an A, I'm going to plug in 2x. So good question. it's not -1 because this is the difference of cubes. So the formula already accounts for it being negative. Because whenever you have the difference of cubes, it's always going to be a minus in the middle. And the formula just accounts for it already. So everywhere I have a, I plug in 2x. And everywhere I have b, I plug in 1. So how would I write my answer? So this is 2x squared, but the whole thing is squared. So I have to distribute the squared to both of these. So 2 squared is what? 4. And x squared is just x squared. So this would become 4x squared because we have to distribute the squared here. And then what's 2x times 1? Just 2x. And then what's 1 squared? 1. All right, so here I have the difference of cubes again. So my formula is a minus b times a squared plus ab plus b squared. So this is x squared, or this is a squared. So if this is a cubed. If a cubed is x cubed, what is just a? X. And then b cubed is equal to 27. So what's b? Perfect, because we know 27 is 3 cubed. So if we cross out the cubes, b is equal to 3. So everywhere I have an a, I'm going to plug in x there. Everywhere I have b, I plug in 3. All right, so how would I write my answer? Perfect. Plus 3 squared is 9. And that's the answer.